first question would be, has the showrunners, Seth Mcfarland, anybody from Family Guy ever contacted you about doing the character? And the second one will be, what's your favorite season of all time for Family Guy?
To answer your first question, I was young. I was 23 when I first started doing this. I'm going to be 34 mid-October, so I'm doing this a long time, and I didn't know about fair parody law or anything like that. So I had actually reached out to Fuzzy Door Productions and wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get sued. And they actually told me many years ago, I think this was 2015, I think I did this the year that I went viral, that they said I came up in a table read of the possibility of doing like a live action episode. I mean, obviously it never happened, but that was the coolest thing. I was like, holy smokes, not only are they not going to fire me, they might hire me for a job. And what that ultimately, I guess, became was in season 17, episode 16, they actually referenced me on the show. And it was like kind of like a parody of a DVD commentary where like, you know, like they have like people voicing over like the episode, and Peter Griffin's like freaking out because he thinks that Lois is going to leave him, and Seth MacFarlane comes into the booth and says, "You don't have to worry about anything because none of you people are real." He's like, "Your cartoons voiced by me, Alex Borstein, Mila Kunis, and Seth Green." And he's like, "Wait, if I'm not real, then why does a fat nerd pretend to be me at every Comic-Con?" He said, "No nerds can play
That's great.
And people were like, "Were you mad?" I was like, "No." I was like, "That's like getting your song parodied by Weird Al. It's like an honor. Come on. I'm canon on Family Guy now. Peter Griffin knows who I am." I never would have thought that would have happened either. But my favorite season, it's hard to say my favorite season, but I love the Star Wars one. I'm a huge Star Wars geek.
Okay.
I've been a Star Wars fan longer than I have teeth, so that really just, you know, Carlos Spicy Wiener, and it actually, I actually ended up getting a Han Solo costume to be Peter Griffin Han Solo, and I took that to Star Wars Celebration with me, and bumped it to a chicken Boba Fett, and we got some great photos. That bastard gave me a bad coupon. And apparently tonight I'm going to be fighting the giant chicken at a wrestling show. There's if you guys stop by my booth,
Yeah, we're gonna be
there's a little flyer for it, so it should have more information on where to find that. I'm going to be fighting the chicken tonight,
Yeah, we'll be there.
so that'll be a hell of a performance. And my second round with the chicken, because I did a backstage style wrestling show with the giant chicken at the con that I threw in Queens, and I was very green to wrestling. I never, had a wrestling match, but my best friend CJ is a professional wrestler, and we used to work at Toys R Us together way back in the day, and we used to joke about doing a wrestling match. So the opportunity presented itself when we did the con. I was like, well, you can dress up like the chicken, and we'll do the chicken fight. I put him through a garbage can and a table, and it was a hell of a show. I wish more people were in attendance for that. I think people would have flipped out for that match. And my knees were purple for like 2 weeks because I didn't wear any pads because I was stupid. And that's why I'm not going to do so much of a fight.
Griffin do that anywhere?
He would not wear new pads. No, he's never prepared. It's always the most random times that the chicken just shows up, and he's just got to make a 6-piece out of him.
Thank you, I appreciate your answer.
I took that to Star Wars Celebration with me and bumped it to a chicken Boba Fett, and we got some great photos. That bastard gave me a bad coupon. I won, and everybody within earshot heard that and were like, holy shit, that guy's Peter Griffin. And then my friends that I was with kind of like were off somewhere else getting an autograph from somebody. I don't know who it was. And they were like, what's all this commotion? They thought Stan Lee walked in or something, because I literally had a ring of people around me, and I never experienced anything like this in my life up until that point. Now I've done it a million times, but it was just really, really funny how that was, the birth of something so big and so instrumental in my life. Because I figured that was my 15 minutes of fame. I was very much one of these fall to the cracks kind of like kept to myself. I was, funny with my friends and family, but like I wasn't like an outgoing guy like that. And I guess because it afforded me the ability to be somebody that I'm not, I just improvised that entire day as Peter Griffin. I didn't break character 1 second. I did the voice the entire day, 5 hours walking around driving my friends crazy. And we went home. It was like the most epic day of my life up until that point. And I figured that was it, go back to my normal life, go back to my job. And it was a little bit of a while later, because that was October of 2012. And then I remember being at a 4th of July barbecue the very next year, and somebody said, "You're trending on Reddit." And I was, first of all, I was like, what the hell is trending? And number two, I was like, I don't even have a Reddit. Like, how do they know who I am? So somebody had posted like a vertical video of me that was like filmed on a potato of me doing some monologue as Peter Griffin at New York Comic Con. And people went nuts with it. It got like 500,000 views. I was like, holy snap, I can't believe that people still are into this. So that very year, 2013, there was a con called Great Allentown Comic Con. And there was a costume contest. See, I do 2 costumes. I do Peter Griffin, and I also do a wrestler named Sergeant Slaughter, because he was also a G.I. Joe, and I was part of a G.I. Joe cosplaying group called The Finest. And we were going to do a music video that they did in the show. We were going to recreate that. So I was dressed head to toe like Sergeant Slaughter and melted because the air conditioner was broken in this venue. I was sweating. I could see why Sergeant Slaughter was so cranky in the ring, because that hat does not breathe. And I brought Peter Griffin with me because I figured, people want to see this costume. I'm going to bring him to conventions with me from now on because it's more comfortable and it's something I could change into if I have to. So I changed it to Peter Griffin. I heard a commotion in like the panel room right next to where the bathrooms were where I changed. And I went over there, and it happened to be the costume contest. And the two of the judges were Riddle, she calls herself Riddle, she's a famous cosplayer, and then Nicole Marie Jean, who's another famous cosplayer. I didn't know them at the time, but I jumped on the back of the line, and I'm like cracking jokes here and there as Peter, and I have people chuckling on the line and stuff. And then I get to the front, and I grab the microphone, and I was like, I'd like 2 hot dogs or mustard. Wait. This is in the cafeteria. Damn it, Meg, you told me this was a cafeteria. And these girls are sitting there looking at me like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, is this guy like for real? And I did my little spiel. I went to the back of the room, figuring, just crashing a costume contest. I wasn't gonna win. I was wearing green pants and a white shirt. It's not fair for me to win. And they asked me to come back to the front. I was like, oh great, they could probably yell at me for making all the jokes about everybody's costumes. And they were like, can you keep the crowd entertained while we try to figure out who the winners are? Now, I had never like performed in a public forum like this where you just put me on the spot and I just had to get up and go. But somehow I was able to improvise my way through a stand-up routine as Peter Griffin, working the crowd. I had Goku LARPing against Superman in the crowd. It was really very funny. And somebody from a website called Kotaku happened to be there and wrote a whole article and posted a video of me doing the stand-up routine. And that got even more views than the vertical video from New York Comic Con. I think that got like 1.5 million views. I was like, damn, people really want this. So one of my best friends, Eric, that I used to work at my previous job at, went to Quinnipiac College, and 2 of his roommates were film students. And he showed them the video of me doing that stand-up routine, and they're like, we love this guy. We want to kind of do a deeper dive and find out, why does he do this, and how did this whole thing start? Like to tell the official story in the real life. So he asked me. I remember I was sitting by a pool at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. Which, if you've never been there, it's like nerdy gras. It's like literally like days of partying, like 4 o'clock in the morning, getting beers with Batman, partying, and I was like, yeah, what do I care? I was like, I'm going to get my own New York Comic Con tickets. I can't get them for other people. They're like, oh, don't worry about that. They're gonna follow you around with a camera. They're gonna come to your house the night before, and they're just gonna interview you. And they're gonna ask you, about Comic Con and why you go there, and what does it mean to you. And And I did that interview, and I was very candid about it. You know, I've always been an open book. I'm not a bullshit artist. I've never been good at that. So I laid it all out there. You know, I'm a cosplayer because it makes me feel good. You know, I go back to my mundane job and I live my mundane life, but then I go to these conventions and people are pulling out their phones like I'm some kind of celebrity. And it was like this high that I was chasing almost. So that was New York Comic Con 2014. We didn't post the video until January 15th. They had 20 plus hours of footage of me walking around in this interview and this and that, and they whittled it down to like 3 minutes and change. And we posted this video, and my God, did that thing go viral immediately. I think by the end of the first or second day, we had well over 3 million views. To this day, it's 17 million views and climbing, that one video. And that's what changed everything for me. Inside Edition sent a car to my house and interviewed me at the Palisades Mall. Entertainment, people, I mean, you name it. If there was a media outlet, there was an article about me. And the most surreal thing was that there were people talking about me in countries and languages that I can't speak. And it's like, Peter Griffin, Robert Franzese. I'm like, these people are talking about me. Like, what did I do? I'm just dressing like a cartoon character. I'm doing something that a million other people are doing. But I guess what set me apart from like the typical cosplayer is that I personified the character. I was able to improvise, I was able to voice act, and kind of pair all of that together to create the perfect storm that's the real life Peter Griffin. And honestly, to this day, I mean, yes, you know, it's been financially kind to me over the years because I now have Cameo, I have a monetized YouTube channel, and that wasn't a straight, you know, to stardom kind of thing. I've learned some hard lessons about life, about trusting friends, and you know, I've had to start over again multiple times. You know, when I created my LLC, my friends didn't want to do it anymore, so I ended up having to buy them out and start over. Then another friend kind of like took advantage of me kind of like undervaluing myself, because that's always been one of my biggest problems. I've always undervalued myself, and that's probably why I haven't gone further with the Peter Griffin thing. And I ended up having to create a whole new YouTube channel and a whole new Facebook page because that all got taken away from me. But from that, I don't know if it was spite or inspiration, but I ended up getting myself to learn how to edit my own videos, get the gear that I needed to shoot them professionally. And I'm a one-man production team now. And I have a silver play button on YouTube, which is insane. I think I'm at 322,000 subscribers on YouTube. I got over 600,000 on TikTok now. That was another one that they kind of dragged me into and landed me back on Inside Edition. Inside Edition ended up interviewing me a second time because of my TikTok, because I did, hey Lois, diarrhea, and people, 10 million views. You believe that? 10 million views. Hey Lois, diarrhea. Hey, right about kids one day, hey Dad, what's your legacy? Well, I have a long story about that, kiddo. And you know, it's to this day, I've never been great at making myself happy, but making you guys happy and getting a room to laugh is where I get my happiness from. I really do. I love absorbing and empathing the hell out of happiness that I bring out. And you know, if it's a simple "shut up, Meg," and people just, you know, that's it. That's all it takes. And it's really afforded me a lot of life experiences that I never would have had otherwise. I got a passport and went to Canada. Now I'm here in Texas. It's my very first time in Texas. I'm very excited to be here and meet all you lovely people and see a whole new set of smiling faces. Because, you know, I go to the same conventions over and over. I've been going to New York Comic Con almost every year since 2012 when I started going to it. And, you know, it kind of gets jaded when you do the same thing over and over again. The New York Comic Con is something to behold, don't get me wrong. It's a huge con. But I've always loved these kind of smaller cons because they're more intimate. You know, you get to meet people, you get to speak to people. At New York Comic Con, it's like, hey, can I grab a picture? And then it's like, all right, well, 40 other people are waiting for me to take a picture. So I really can't like get to have that little interaction. And I absolutely love it. And I'm sorry if I'm not doing this whole thing as Peter. I know people want the Peter thing. But yeah, it's it's really been a whole lot of fun, and I have my friend Mandy as my real life Lois, and no, we're not a couple, but we're incredibly close friends, and she's one of my best friends in the world, and we still do the real life Peter and Lois Griffin thing. And my friend Anya, unfortunately, is Meg. And my original Meg was Ivy Doom Kitty, if you guys have ever heard of that cosplayer. She's based out of California, and she went viral with cosplay long before I even did. And I ended up meeting her at a con called Atlantic City Boardwalk Con that they used to have. And she dressed up like Meg at that con so we could meet up, and we made some funny videos. But Anya was the one that stuck, because I actually, in 2018, threw my own convention. A lot of people don't realize. It was a little smaller con in Corona, Queens, where they had the original World's Fair in the 60s, and I believe in the 30s before that. And there's like the Queen's Theater over there, and I fought the chicken live on stage at that con. Now, my original idea was to have a whole Family Guy themed convention, but we didn't have the capital to really pull off what my vision was. But I wanted to have a dunk booth with a Meg inside. And you just throw the ball and Meg gets dunked. We could have made a fortune off that. I would have spent my own money. But my friend Anya was a really good sport and offered to be the Meg for the dunk tank. We couldn't get the permit for the dunk tank, but she had already bought the stuff for Meg, so she ended up kind of becoming our de facto Meg. And now I have like this little, Griffin family, and my cousin's baby. I dressed him up like Stewie last year when I went to visit them in Pennsylvania last year. And that I did another TikTok with him when I tell him, when you poop in your dreams, you poop for real. And that's another one that went viral. And they played that on Inside Edition. I'm like, great. But it's just really funny, and to think like 10 years later, I'm still doing this thing. I'm still making people laugh with a cartoon character that came out over 20 years ago now. I remember watching Family Guy in high school. Like, I didn't watch it when it was on the air. It was already canceled the first time, and my friend had the DVD collection of the first 3 seasons. And he would lend me disc by disc, one at a time. And I watched the first 3 seasons and thought, this show's hysterical. There's no line they won't push. There's no joke they won't tell. And it was like almost like a fresher take on The Simpsons, because The Simpsons at that time kind of got stale. They were the kings of comedy in like the 90s, but I would say in the 2000s, Family Guy was the show.
Yes.
And I know, like, when I first started doing this, Family Guy was a little more relevant than it is now. But it still blows my mind to see how excited people get when they see Peter Griffin today. Like, every time I think, well, they're just going to cancel the show and I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. It just keeps coming back, and I'm really grateful to the folks at Bonsai Con for having me out here. And I always try to tell my fans, like, if you want to meet me, please let your local cons know, and I'd be more than happy to come out and meet the fans, and create a whole new audience to make laugh. People that haven't heard my old jokes yet, But, that's really the story of the real life Peter Griffin, how I started it, how I continue to do it. I do the cameo videos for shout-outs, for businesses, for personal needs. I've done them for divorces. I've done it for everything. You finally got rid of that bitch. It's really funny, some of the things that they tell me to, like, say. And, like, sometimes I have to say no. I'm like, I'm not saying this. Career ending. No, not doing it. But I think I'm going to open it up to questions. Does anybody?
Your experience flying down here, did people recognize you, or people ask you, like, you look like him, or did
At the
know?
airport, I didn't get it, but I get it all the time. I get it at the supermarket. I have been recognized in the most random of places. I got recognized at 2 o'clock in the morning at Jamaica train station in Jamaica, Queens.
That must have been a truth.
I got recognized immediately upon going to Boston, and I'm not even kidding. I went to Boston Comic Con, one of my best friends, Vin, and his mom lived just outside of there in a town called Peabody. We went there, we stopped at his house, we drove for 4 hours to get there. My legs were cramping. So we get there, she's like, oh, let's go to a bar. And I was like, oh, we gotta go back in the car. But we get in the car, we go to this bar, maybe like 15 minutes away from her house, and we go into the place, and there's like 4 girls behind the bar, and they start giggling and run in the back. And then their father comes out and says, I'm the owner of the bar. He's like, my daughter said that you're famous on the internet, and they want to know if you can get a picture with you. I was like, I literally just stepped into the first bar in New England ever in my entire life, and they know who I'm here. Griffin. It's just really funny, the location and all that stuff. But it's just the most, I just, how many people, I wish I got $1 for every time somebody walked up to me and said, you look familiar. But the trip to Texas wasn't bad. I woke up super early though, that was the thing, because New York is an hour earlier than Texas time. So I woke up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, New York time. Hopped on like an 8:30 flight. Got here for whenever I got here. That was like a 4 or 5 hour flight. Then they flew me to Dallas, and then Dallas to McAllen. So that was like another hour and a half. And then they picked me up and drove me another hour and a half to get to South Padre Island. And then I got to the convention center, I checked it out a little bit. Finally went back to the hotel, ordered a Whataburger, hopped in the hot tub, and then knocked the hell out because I needed to sleep for at least an hour, because then we ended up getting together last night with some of the voice actors, and that's really cool. That always blows my mind, because like, I get to hang out with these people that are doing the career that I wish I could be doing. Voice acting has always been like a passion of mine. I just always love making people laugh. And my one talent in this world to change my voice to something else. I have a question back there. Buc-ee's? Is it a...
It's like the Disneyland of Texas.
No. This is my very first... My experience in Texas was I flew to Dallas, I flew to McAllen, I got driven here. I didn't really get to go around. And Texas is a big-ass state.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know you got a big state when you have to fly from one part of the state to the other. Yeah. I live on Long Island. The entire thing is like 188 miles. Like the entire thing. In an hour and a half, like I could be out of New York. You know, like completely. I'd be in Jersey or Connecticut or whatever. Like here, it's like an hour and a half. It's like, oh, I went to the next town. Oh, shit.
That's what got me when I first got out here.
It's insane. But I love it, you know. And my dad was a little jealous that I got to do this trip, because my dad has been obsessed with cowboys since he was a little kid. And this is the land of cowboys. It's freaking Texas. So I got to admit, I was expecting to see a lot more cowboy hats when I got here. Because my dad walks around in New York with a cowboy hat every day, and he doesn't care. And people call him the city slicker. But I said, you know, if you come to Texas, you probably look like just everybody else here. But you know, this is, I mean, obviously this is like an anime convention. There's not too many cowboys in anime, but yeah. I'm kind of disappointed there's not like a hat store I can go like get him a new cowboy hat, because he's wearing this hat for years, and it used to be a black hat, but that way now it looks like almost like a rawhide brown leather hat, because he's just worn it so much. And he was like, I don't want a new hat. I like my old hat. I'm like, all right, whatever. But what else you guys?
That you had that afforded you to go to all these.
Well, I worked at a credit union. There was a little local credit union, the same one that I worked was the Santa Claus at, and it was a stifling job. It didn't lend itself to the creative mind. Like, you weren't even able to like change your wallpaper on the computer you worked on every day, and it was like, and what pisses me off is that like I let them crush me in that job. Like, I had the opportunity to fly out to Los Angeles and interview Snoop Dogg, and I had to turn it down because they wouldn't give me off. And I needed the job and the health benefits and all that stuff. But I vowed after that, I would never let a job stop me from having a life experience again. And I really held strong to that. And I ended up kind of like telling them to go F themselves the second time that I had an opportunity to go to California. And I did follow through with it. There was this company called Jam City that makes mobile games. And they make the Family Guy mobile game called Another Freaking Mobile Game. And they flew me to Los Angeles to advertise that game with none other than Adam West. So I got to meet Adam West before he died. It was really amazing. It was like a month and a half before he died. You wouldn't even know he was sick. He was a really, really nice guy. He was, it was like, how's it going there, Mayor West? I got to hear him sing the Adam West song, and it was really a surreal experience. And that's just what I'm talking about with these life experiences that I've had with this. It's really hysterical, like some of the adventures that I've had. And I almost wish that I had like somebody to follow me around with a camera just to capture all the shit that I've done over the years. And it's not just Peter Griffin. Like when I met Roger Bumpus, who's the voice of Squidward on SpongeBob, I was going back and forth with the guy as SpongeBob. I was like, hey, Squidward, finish those errands? How about now? How about now? And that was a whole experience that was never on film. When I met Ian McDiarmid from Star Wars, he played the Emperor. I had a cackle off with him, and he never does that with fans. Because it was the last thing I did at one of the cons that hired me. It was Tampa Bay Comic-Con. And it was the last thing I wanted to do before hopping on the plane to go home. Because my niece is a huge Star Wars fan, and I was like, I'm getting her the Emperor's autograph. Now, what's really cute is she was really small when I got this, so she was afraid that I was going to meet the Emperor, and he was going to turn me to the dark side. That's how small she was. But the last thing I did before hopping on a plane was I went on Ian McDiarmid's line, and it was taking forever, and the people realized who I was, and they were like, you got to hop on a plane. Like, just go to the front of the line, get the autograph, and go. So I went up to the girl to takes the money to buy the prints, and I couldn't help myself. I was just like, if she really quite and he stops signing, looks up and says, that was very good. I was like, I have to say, Mr. McDiarmid, though, my absolute favorite is the cackle. And he starts doing it back. And it was the most amazing thing I ever saw. I was like, why is this not on film? God, if somebody got that on film, I really hope they come to light with it at some point. Because that was, if I had a cameraman or somebody following me around, like, a lot of these experiences probably tickle a lot of other people too. Any other questions?
Or Universal Studios?
No, that would be cool. That would be really cool. I mean, I've been to Florida for conventions, but I've never been like hired by like an official company like that to do something like. I guess the closest would be the Jam City flying me out to do work for the mobile game. And what's really funny is they actually had me record some lines as Peter for the game in other languages, because I guess they didn't have time to have Seth McFarland record Peter Griffin in German. So like they just like, this is how you say it as Peter Griffin. Okay. And I did it. So there was a bunch of different languages that I don't know, it's like little clips that I had to say. But that was really cool. I'd love to become a voice actor one day. That's the end goal, I guess, because that's one of the few talents I really have. Like, I can manipulate my voice to do a lot of characters. And it wasn't Peter Griffin that started it all. When I was a little kid, I could do Yoda and Grover, and, it blew my mind that Frank Oz was the voice of both of them, Miss Piggy, Fozzie the Bear. I was like, holy shit, one guy did all of these voices? And then you realize Mel Blanc did almost all the Looney Tunes, and like, those guys were like my heroes. And one of the coolest things I found on eBay, because I was going through a phase of like spending insane amounts of money on eBay, but I found, and I framed this and have it up on my wall. It says, my name is Robert, my real name is Robert, and I found on eBay an autograph of Mel Blanc that said, "Hi, Robert," on it. I was like, holy shit, I have to have this, and I have it up there, and I feel like he's kind of like watching out for me up there, and maybe he can help me, become a voice actor myself one day. And it's cool, it's really, really cool to be able to do these things and have a platform here. I mean, I'm sitting here with a room full of strangers that want to hear about my life. Like, jeez, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. It still blows my mind. And I've done all this stuff, and it still blows my mind. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. That was surreal, because, like, I was still kind of just doing it for pleasure at the time. I was just, traveling on my own dime, paying to get into these conventions. And one of the first ones to really like offer to pay me to be there was Niagara Falls Comic Con. So not only was I going to get paid to be at a con, I got to travel to a whole nother place I'd never been. And let me tell you, those people are super, super nice. Like, I got there and I made friends with this guy, Steve, that was one of the security guys. He was a volunteer firefighter. And he took me around Niagara Falls, showed me all of the landmarks. He showed me these like temples that were shipped over during World War II. He showed me this giant clock made out of flowers. And I ended up riding over the Canadian border with Jay Muse, which was hilarious because I was like, please don't have weed on you. God, the dog just sniffing the car. But yeah, that was such a good time. And that was really a surreal experience for me too, because that was the first time I was ever in a green room too. So I'm sitting there eating lunch with Brian O'Halloran from Clerks, Lucas from Stranger Things, and Charles Martinet, the voice of Super Mario. And the table next to us has Robert Englund and one of the Dukes of Hazzard. And I'm like, what the hell is this right now? Like, this is like the most random assortment of people. And they're all famous, and they're all like we're all occupying the same space. And I was like, that is pretty freaking cool. That is absolutely awesome. But like, I'm still humbled to this day that like people still want to have me come out to these things. Because, you know, in my own life, you know, I look in the mirror, I see an unremarkable person. But then, you know, you just turn on the racial dish. I'm like, yeah, people love it. You know, it's fantastic. What else we got? No, I got to meet David Prowse, who was in the original Darth Vader costume for the original 3 movies. And kind of funny, who physically bumps into me while I'm waiting on that line is Jeremy Bullock, who was the original Boba Fett's actor. I've met Mark Hamill. I've met Carrie Fisher. I've met Peter Mayhew. I saw Anthony Daniels on stage when I got to see Star Wars in concert, which was one of the dopest things I've ever seen in my entire life. It was a full symphony orchestra playing the Star Wars music with like scenes from the movies on this giant movie screen. And it was at this place called the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. They've knocked it down since and rebuilt a new stadium there. But it was like a big hockey ring, and like there was like an outer ring from the actual venue. And in this entire ring, on loan from Skywalker Ranch, was all of the original props of the original movies. They had Darth Vader's costume for the original Star Wars. They had Luke Skywalker's handle, like his actual hilt of his lightsaber. Han Solo's blaster, Princess Leia's gown from the award ceremony. Like the stuff they had on display at this thing was absolutely insane. But that was the closest I got to meet him. I'm trying to think of other people from Star Wars that I mean, I went to Star Wars Celebration. I saw Warwick Davis walk down the hallway. I bumped into John Boyega. I saw Hayden Christensen on stage. It was, yeah, that was a really fun experience going to Star Wars Celebration. I met the guy that created the 501st. Ray Park stopped a line of thousands of people to say hi to me because he saw me at a con once before. I met Steve Bloom at that con. It was really cool because he does Zeb on Rebels, but he's a legendary voice actor. And for the weebs out there who don't know who Steve Bloom is, he is Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. And that's another thing that blows my mind, is when I meet these celebrities and they know who I am before I meet them. And one of the ones that surprised me the most was at New York Comic Con. Once I met John DiMaggio, who was the voice of Jake the Dog, Bender. He does like a million voices over all these years. You know him. You know him from something. And I was like, oh my God, it's Bender Bending Rodriguez. He's like, oh my God, it's the real life Peter Griffin. I was like, you know who I am? And it's like, I guess my reputation precedes me more than my stomach does, yeah? But it's a super awesome experience. Questions? Going once? Going twice?
So you never met the Mandalorian?
The Mandalorian? No, but I did meet the armorer, the lady that plays the armorer. She's super sweet. I just met her this year. She was at a con on Long Island by me called Eternal Con, and Her name is Emily Swallow. She also was on a show called Supernatural. I never saw Supernatural. I never watched that show. The real life Meg is a huge fan of Supernatural, so I told her about that, and she ended up giving me an autograph for free for her because she couldn't make it to the con. But some of these people are some of the most gracious, celebrities I've ever met, and I that's why I love coming to these shows to see who I can meet, and not just celebrities, but even the fans. Like, it kind of reminds me, why am I doing this? I was starting to get burned out a little bit in the end of 2019 because I had been doing this like constantly for years, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take 2020 off, and then the world ended, so I kind of had to anyway. And they're like, you know what, Rob? Take another year off. Okay, I guess I'll take 2 years. So this year was the first return to conventions that I've done since before the pandemic hit, and I'm really, really happy that I'm able to get back to this stuff because you miss it after a while. And traveling, and this is the first time I was on planes since the pandemic, and I went to the cons on Long Island, and that was kind of like the diet, going back to cons for me, and now, full-fledged going back and doing bookings, and like I said, if you guys want me back, let your local cons know, and I'd be more than willing to come back and make you guys laugh all over again with a "Shut up, Meg."
Today, but he loves your YouTube, and I was wondering if we can get like a "Damn it, Meg."
Yeah, I can do that. Damn it, Meg, why didn't you come to my freaking panel? Thank you. Shut up, Meg.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Top 3 anime. Number 1 is One Piece. Number 2 is probably going to still be Dragon Ball Z. And number 3, probably Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop's up there for me. I love that show. But then there's some tough ones too, because I like Demon Slayer a lot. That might be number 4 for me. Jujutsu Kaisen's fantastic. One Punch Man's fantastic. Even the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was outstanding. Samurai Champloo was great. But those would be my top 3, let's say. Got any more questions?
Tell us your anime waifu.
My anime waifu?
Yes.
God. Do I have to name one? Jeez. Oh, that put me on the spot. I'm trying to think now. There's so many. I mean, I love fucking Chi-Chi, and I love
It's not even One Piece, right?
Nami. I do love Nami. I love Nico Robin. I love fucking, what's her name? Boa Hancock, yeah. Boa Hancock's a cutie. Hell, even what's her name? Bonnie, the one that eats, and then Yamato, the one that thinks she's Odin, and I mean, there's a lot of good ones in One Piece, and even the girl from 7 Deadly Sins, what's her name? Yeah.
Or Diana?
No, the Elizabeth. Yeah. God, it's like an endless list of waifus from anime, but my titty mouse pad at home is not me. I've always had a thing for redheads, clearly. What else you got for me? Be kind to everybody. You never know, what people are going through, and sometimes people will come up to me and they're like, "Your videos have changed my life." Because I was going through a hard thing, and your video helped pull me out of literal depression, and I'm sitting here hating on myself, and I'm changing somebody else's life. So I gotta learn to love myself a little more. I think that's kind of what I've been working on lately, and it's getting better, bit by bit, But I would say that always be kind, and even if they're not kind to you, just don't go out of your way to not be kind. What else you guys got for me? We just got here, and we're about to head into Bonsai Con, and it's going to be a freaking epic day.
Huh? I'm not sure. There's on. See, that's a private explosive. Here we go. Hey, there he is. How's it going, pal? Put on my old, my eyes here, and that's it. How's it, guys? Hi, guys. Good morning.
Oh, that's really
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, hi!
Hi, guys. Good morning. Hello. Now this is all full. Oh, there's your room. We're making our way to the old Boofaroni. Here we go. Good morning. And here we are. And this is where I will be located for the weekend. And I think there's going to be a party going on tonight. So if you guys are in South Padre Island, Texas, be sure to stop by and meet me. Look at that, much better.
He's not missing an eye anymore.
I was kind of like that for a while there.
I'm Wembley Toast, if you've already known, if you've been sticking around. We have the real life Lois and Peter Griffin. Can you give a round of applause for them, please? We appreciate you being here and having us. Thank you so much. As well as if anybody has questions, feel free to line up if you'd like to. But other than that, how have you enjoyed your place here so far?
Oh, this is great. We're having a great time. This is my personal second time in Texas. I was here last year for BonsaiCon, a different anime con. And that was a lot of fun, so I was excited to be able to come back to Texas. But this time I was really excited because I was able to bring my cartoon wife to real life, Lois Griffin.
Round of applause, everybody!
For having us. It's exciting to be here. Everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Unfortunately.
So coming about and playing these characters, I mean, at what point in your life did you finally see it happening? For
Well,
both of you?
I feel like I've told this story a million times, but here's a million and one. I started cosplaying in 2012 at New York Comic Con, which is held at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. And we ended up just dressing up like characters and stuff. I wasn't even Peter Griffin. I was dressed like Western Ghost Rider, and my head couldn't have been hotter if it was actually on fire. I ended up getting heat stroke at the con. But I got a kick out of taking pictures with people and posing and all that kind of stuff. So I almost didn't go to Comic-Con the second day, but I was like, you know what, let me try to find something a little more comfortable. And, you know, I found the magic formula in my closet. I showed up at the con and I started doing the voice. And then bit by bit, over time, it started going more and more viral on the internet. And then I ended up making my own YouTube channel, and I have all the social medias and the TikToks and all the things the kids are into. And here I am, almost 11 years later, still doing this.
And that's the bird of the word.
Yeah, we actually met on a cartoon shit posting forum, I guess. You know, it was always my dream to be a cartoonist. But then I was like realizing being a cartoonist and an artist, you spend a lot of time alone. So I decided I wanted to be a cartoon. And I met this young man on the cartoon posts, and I was about to do my first Lois cosplay. I realized that he was doing the PETA, and unfortunately he wasn't able to make it for the photo shoot, but 3 months later we ended up being neighbors and started creating content almost regularly after that.
And it's pretty natural, you know, we got a good cadence there, and, you know, we have fun with it, and we get to travel and see all you bright faces in different places, and it's fun.
Yeah, and speaking of cadences, before I decided to be a human cartoon, I was in the military, and they didn't appreciate comedians in the Army, so, you know, and working with a professional comedian makes it a lot easier, and we just feed off of each other's shenanigans, and we have great chemistry, and it's been an honor to play Lois, because her fan base is nuts, and it was a lot to live up to, because I'm not as good as Peter is with the one voice, but I mean, I really had to stick to my guns, and I gotta commit to it, and it's really nasally, and you gotta put it out there. I had to get a new weave, you gotta improve your job,
And that's what we love, the fact that you take pride in it and you enjoy doing these things. So who are the people behind Peter and Lois, personally?
I mean, you know, we're best friends, and we get to travel and stuff. We have a real life Meg that floats around sometimes, unfortunately. We have our little amalgam of Stewie and Brian here. We figured it was an anime convention, so we'd kind of do a little Full Metal Alchemist action and combine a child and a dog. And, you know, here we are.
Yeah, well, to answer, that's right. Well, to answer his question, his name is Rob Franzese.
But yeah, I'm Rob Franzese. This is the real voice of the real life Peter Griffin. I come from Long Island, New York. You know, the New York accent comes out after a while. Would you like to buy a vowel? You know, I'm an Italian American from New York. You know, you never expect that to become the real life Peter Griffin, but I never expected it either. Like I said, I just cosplayed as a character at a convention, and you know, really it picked up some momentum that I never expected it. You know, I was kind of like one of those fall through the cracks kind of, you know, introverted kind of guys, and you know, I kept to myself. And, and thank you. Yes, introverts. Clap for the introverts.
She's my favorite.
But you know, nobody was more surprised about this whole thing than me, and it took me a long time to realize just how much it meant to people that, you know, what I do with the videos that I make, and I get messages all the time telling me that, like, you know, I was having a rough day and I watched one of your videos and it really changed my day, and that's honestly why I continue to do it. You know, I mean, the traveling and, you know, sometimes the pay is great, don't get me wrong, but the fact that I'm able to spread a little sunshine in this world and kind of empath off some of that joy is what keeps me going.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Like he was saying about being an empath, like being an introvert and an extrovert, it's really nice to be somebody else sometimes. I'm absolutely an extrovert, but being an empath, you get to really absorb the joy that you bring. And in a world that's, you know, kind of dark these days, especially with the pandemic and everything, just being able to bring that light back into the world through real life cartooning is just a dream come true, and it's truly an honor.
Well, we all definitely enjoyed it, especially with Reborn having you back, and all the other clips that we've seen throughout, and hopefully anybody here has been keeping up as well. So that's great. I mean, that's great that you guys took the cartoon, and incorporated it into your real life. And like you said, I can definitely hear the accent.
Oh yeah, it's way better playing like a 50-something-year-old mother than like a 16-year-old animated high school kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because then at that point your voice has to tell.
We grow into the role over time. I certainly did.
Just more of you to love, Peter.
That's it. Like cancer, I grow on you know.
And so, apparently you seem to be Family Guy fans as well. You've really enjoyed the show, and I'm assuming because of its dark humor and...
oh yeah, I love it's my favorite flavor of humor.
You know, witty comebacks and then all these great punchlines.
Yeah, it's absolutely an adult show.
Yes.
Like there are cartoons, and everyone assumes that cartoons are, you know, for kids, but that's absolutely a cartoon for adults. And it's nice to be an adult playing an adult, but it can get confusing when you work conventions like this where the kids are all around and you're just like, wow, Lois has actually done a adult movie and I have not. So it's like, let's keep real with the character. She's a little more wild than me. I mean, I wish I was a Peter Schmidt for sure.
I wish it was a Peter Schmidt too.
Oh, Peter.
But yeah, you know, I became a Family Guy fan back when I was in high school. You know, I think it was already canceled for the first time, and I think there was only 2 seasons out at the time. And one of my buddies in high school had the DVDs and would lend me a disc at a time. And I immediately fell in love with the show because I was a big Simpsons fan before I found out about Family Guy, so it was a natural transition. And then and I became a bigger Family Guy fan than The Simpsons, and I never dreamed I'd become Peter Griffin. I mean, yeah, I'm a fat white guy, but you know, there's a lot of those in America.
Yeah, it was amazing when I first started cosplaying with Peter, Robert. We went to the, you know, where the celebrities are, and Phil Lamar was, he does a lot of voice acting for Futurama and Family Guy, big time. And he's friends with Alex Borstein, the actual voice actor of Lois Griffin. And so, like, he comes up to me, he's like, oh, I gotta take a picture of you for my friend Alex. And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, another picture for another dude, all right. And it's because I had Joey with me, who's a Yorkie. And it turns out Alex Borstein has Yorkies. So I totally, like, blew him off. And he just sent a picture of me to the voice actor that I'm pretending to be. And I was just like...
And long story short, now she knows who Alex Borstein is.
Yeah, and I'm buddies with Phil Lamar now, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, Phil's the man. If you ever got to meet him, he's a really nice guy.
He's absolutely amazing.
We all have our moments. And as for the little pup, how did you come about to having him as a part of the family?
So yeah, his name is Joey. He's the real life Lois's pepperoni, but he has 2 Christmases. We share him. But he's a good boy, and he's 13 years old, teacup Yorkie. And she likes to call him a New Yorkie because we're from New York. And he's great with the cosplay and stuff, and he has a neat little trick with Batman doll.
Oh yeah, he's dating Batman.
He's a show dog for sure. I mean, he's got more Instagram followers than most people, so.
Yeah, he blocked me.
He's living it up.
But he was born for the spotlight. He loves the attention, and he's a good boy. I mean, I've never met a pet that he's like having a pet on easy mode. Really, like he's just good as gold, and you know he doesn't poop that much. So.
He seems very, very calm. I mean, then again, for that.
I mean, I'm a living pillow, so I understand.
That
rest on my titties, Joey. There it is.
Yeah, he's named after my great uncle who worked for Al Capone in Chicago, Joey Doves.
Oh man! So as for like personal hobbies besides being Lois and Peter, is there anything else you guys enjoy doing on the side?
Oh yeah, I'm not a one-show pony like this guy. I do all kinds of different characters. My regular job in New York is a producer. I do a lot of horror, comedy, and smut. It's kind of my lane. I do anything from comedy, singing, dancing. That's what made me be a producer, because you have to be a jack of all trades in order to communicate with all the artists that work in the industry.
And besides doing these conventions, I do the YouTube series, I have the Grinds My Gears, I get the, like I said, all the social media, like the TikTok and the Instagram, and, Feed the Machine kind of.
And he actually does like 66 cartoon voices. All right, do Roger Rabbit.
Please, Eddie.
Oh yeah, I've been doing voices.
The more you know. That was amazing.
You really
Roger
know.
Rabbit is like one of my favorite movies.
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
I'm telling you, I keep bugging him. I'm like, yo, you're not a one-show pony. You got to get on these otother characters.
Definitely.
Rabbit season, duck season, fire. You're despicable.
Man, give him a round of applause. That was amazing.
Attaboy. All right, there you go, Peter.
But yeah, I'm a classic weeb too, above and beyond the cosplay thing. I'm a big anime fan. My number 1 is One Piece. Number 2 is Dragon Ball Z. Number 3, Demon Slayer. Close number 4 would be Cowboy Bebop, which I'm very excited that Steve Bloom's here, and I feel like inadequate because we're following up after Spike Spiegel himself. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah,
Can we go first? What the hell?
I definitely don't deserve this. Which one did he sit on? He sat over there. Okay, that's better.
Now I feel bad for farting.
Yeah, I hear he holds the Guinness Book of World Records for cartoon voices. Is that true?
He does, yeah. He has the Guinness World Record for most voice acting gigs ever.
Well, there you go. The more
You have him here at the show. So
No idea.
RGB Super Anime Fest, where you can see the most successful voice actor in the least, you know.
So put a little sponge on your spunk.
But yeah, it's been a wild ride, you know. I've got to see places that I've never been to. In the last, I want to say, year and change, I've gotten to go to Texas twice. I've gotten to go to Kansas, Minnesota. I mean, it's crazy the places that this has taken me. And it's even crazier the places that I get recognized, even when I'm not in costume. Like, I went to a small convention on Long Island where I live. And I didn't even cosplay, and people were losing their minds. I'm like, that's when you know.
Yeah, but you live there.
I do. But they
Everybody knows everybody.
like the most random of places. I mean, train stations, the supermarket, you know, at the mall, like literally anywhere I get recognized.
I mean, he's really hard to miss, though. I mean,
It
come on.
is. It's like a Yeti sighting. Look at this guy over here with the family.
Well, along with Family Guy, I mean, cartoon portraying, not the ideal family, funny family for sure. So I'm sure you've even done maybe some studying of, as you've enjoyed the series of Family Guy and everything. I mean, have you ever had to break down, and in the beginning of it all, did you have to ever break down the character and try everything? Did you have trouble with your voice? Anything like that at one point of your time?
I probably had more trouble with the voice. Yeah, he's really super talented at voice acting. Because he has a good ear and he can like mimic it like a parrot. But like it did take a long time for me to like get the voice right and really like get the nasal up and then like to commit to it and then like they're looking at you and I'm like, are they hearing me though? And it's like, it was very intimidating and to live up to the legend of Lois and Family Guy and the fans of Family Guy. It was intense. So like, but he's been a great supporter and I mean, he's just a guy without a family, so it's been really nice.
And as far as like it wasn't so much the voice that I had to work on as the content. Because I wasn't, you know, born knowing all the songs or all the references. And, you know, I would find like in the early days when I was doing Peter, people reference stuff that I hadn't seen the episode for. So I'd have to like go in and do the research and kind of bullshit my way in situation like I do with everything in life.
That is a thing.
You know, I mean, all the songs and like Shapoopy and all that stuff, people eat it up. But the Surfing Bird was actually something that I was actually a fan of before I was even a Family Guy fan. And that's really one of the funniest things about Peter Griffin and Family Guy is that like some of the stuff he does on the show is stuff that I was doing before I even watched the show. And I've been living the Family Guy. Like for instance, when Peter goes into the Italian deli and he's like, "Bobbity boobity beepity bobbity, bobbity boobity beepity bobbity." And when I was a little kid, we had a next door neighbor from Italy, and I thought he was speaking gibberish. So I used to blah, 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 and I thought I was speaking Italian to the guy. So it's like just funny little coincidences like that in my real life that carried over into Family Guy. And it's ridiculous.
It's absolutely diabolical.
Yeah, at that point, it's just like destiny. At that point, I mean, that you believe in that, but that's amazing either way. And as for, so like even then involving hobbies and stuff like that, you fish, you play games also?
Video games, big time.
Okay,
Yeah,
I knew I'd catch you on one of those.
I've been playing video games since, I mean, in Christmas of '89 we got the original Nintendo, but my family has been, you know, we had the Atari, the Intellivision, the Apple IIc. I mean, I grew up with all that stuff, so I have like the OG systems, and then, you know, I've carried that well into my adulthood. You know, the PS5, the PC, I play it all. And like people that have the big wars, like Xbox, PlayStation, this and that. I'm like, why not both? Like that taco commercial, you know? Why don't we have both? What can those dos? But I like to broaden my horizons, and I watch anime. I play video games. You know, I do like to go fishing on occasion. My dad's a big fishing fan and stuff. when I was in high school, I played football, so I like watching football sometimes.
Yeah, we were actually, we both played football in middle school. I'm a big tomboy, and we were the same number too, find out later.
Yeah, we both played number 78. Crazy.
It was pretty wild, and we do make a good team though. Like he gets the directing part right, because like, you know, he gets the accuracy, because he's big on accuracy, and I'm a producer. I make stuff happen. I get it done. Like, let's keep going. Let's do the thing. And with our powers combined, we're able to bring you guys, you know, fresh new content and bring the Family Guy show to real life.
An example of that really was like one of the most recent videos that we made. I'm going to be posting it to YouTube soon, where we recreated the scene where Lois was cleaning the shoes with the hose, and she was turning Joe on and fixing his marriage with her seduction. And the scene where she's actually cleaning the shoes, we ended up shooting one for one.
I think I'm cleaning diarrhea. I think I'm cleaning diarrhea. I really think so.
I have this whole song stuck in my head now because I had read it so many times. Oh my god!
Yeah,
but you know, and that's the fun part. It's like bringing cartoons to life and like seeing what we can, you know, bring to reality. And I've made a few of the music videos and stuff. We did the "Poop in Strange Places" song, and I think the next one I want to do is the "Butter on a Pop-Tart" song. I think people will flip out for that. Shapoopy's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because that's a whole musical number, but I think "Butter on a Pop-Tart's going to be the next one.
We'll definitely be
Yeah,
looking.
and not for nothing, when we started, like for me, I wanted to always be like original and create something new and like whatever. And like it was actually working against me in the fact that like the show's already there. Just that's what the fans want. That's what the people want. I wanted to be true to myself and my art and do it my way, which I still do. But like when I was like, why am I kicking myself in the butt when I could just like do the thing? And I just will watch the episode, plug it in, and I do the thing, and it worked out a lot better. And it actually took a lot of stress off of me, just to like all the pressure to be original and to come up with new ideas and be fresh. No, I already got like 21 seasons. I'll just go back to that, go on Fox, it'll be over. Roll credits.
Roll them. And one of the craziest things is that they ended up mentioning me on an episode of Family Guy, which was like the ultimate satisfaction. It's like shit. When you become so noisy, they can't ignore you anymore, and they have to say something. And that was season 17, episode 16, Behind the Booth. It's kind of like a parody of how they do the voiceovers on a DVD commentary or something like that. And Peter thinks that Lois is going to leave him. And Seth McFarland tells him that, you know, he doesn't have to worry about any of that because none of them are real. They're cartoons voiced by himself, Alex Borstein, Mila Kunis, and Seth Green. It's like, wait, if I'm not real, then why does a fat nerd pretend to be me at every Comic-Con? He's like, don't mention him, I'll only encourage him.
Robert's probably been tagged like Seth McFarland so many times. Fox Seth McFarland.
He probably hates me now.
I was gonna say at this point,
He probably just cringes. He's like,
can't he just die of a stroke already, damn it? Stroke. Stop mocking me.
And Lois, so you said you're a producer. How did that career path come about?
like I said, after the Army and they didn't appreciate comedians, I was like, what do I really want to do? Like, what is my dream? And I've always wanted to be an artist and a creator and an actor, comedian. And so I was like, you know what, forget it. And I just like left the military honorably. And I packed my stuff and I moved to New York City, and I've been doing this for 13 years. And like I said, I'm not to suck my own dick, but but I'm super talented. So like when I was doing all the different kind of arts, like the first thing I did was in a girl group, and the next thing I did was a burlesque thing, and then a couple horror movies, and now cosplay. And at the end of the day, I had all these different photography, painting. I had all these different lanes of media, not a master of none. That I was able to communicate with all, like I said, that there are different varieties of creators that it takes to make a production happen. That it just happened that way, and it's been awesome. The amount of the creative people I've been able to work with in New York and to travel with, and all the cons and all the fans and all y'all's costumes and the energy you guys give me. This is my dream job, and it's been hard, you know, because, you know, my dreams are a nightmare sometimes, but I don't regret not giving it a try. And I wouldn't go back. I want to keep trying and keep doing it and being true to myself and what I really wanted to do. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be a cog in the machine and then your whole life is gone and you don't even have enough money to retire. At least try.
And that's the amazing advice too, that you guys keep pushing through it all, no matter the ups and downs. And like you said, you're starting to live the dream you thought of, that's free and doing what you like. And I'm sure everybody here as fans can aspire to do certain things like that. As well as, say, childhoods. How were childhoods growing up? I mean, don't want to get too personal, but I figured I would like to get to know you guys.
I actually was raised in New Mexico. It's like right over there. Where are we? That way? Not that way. But yeah, I was raised in Espanola, New Mexico. I had it kind of rough. I was raised in the projects, and then I was in foster care for many years. And I actually ended up with a Japanese family adopted me, and that was nuts. Cause like I'm like, you know, in my teens, almost aged out of foster care system, and to have Mama June adopt me, and they didn't even watch anime. I was like, what? Like,
Disappointing.
I was like, how do you find a Japanese family in New Mexico when you're just this big weeb? And I just have found that no matter how dark of the experiences I've had in my life that is sad, or the things that I've had to overcome, the brightness is just like overwhelming.
It's
like
outside.
I can't make this stuff up. I'm just like blown away. Like it can be super extremely sad, but it's balanced in whatever chaotic world it is. It's absolutely balanced.
It's brought you harmony.
But I appreciate all the things that I have, and like he's been very lucky to have the family that he has. I've met both his mom, may she rest, and his dad is amazing. He's had plenty of things, and it's really nice to share two different lives. Like how can I say this politely? When you had too much and too little, but also found a way to, again, be balanced. And it was a very beautiful thing, and it's a great partnership. He's one of my best friends in the world, and we do a lot of these things to honor his mom, too. So.
Yeah, we lost my mom back in 2021, but she loved everything that I did with the cosplay stuff, and she was super, super supportive, and so was my dad. And my ultimate goal has always been to become a voice actor in animation, and that's still the dream, and I still keep that alive. And granted, I could have done more in my career to try to drive towards that, but who doesn't? You know, not everybody's living on 100% all the time, and depression is a real thing, and creator block is a real thing, and I haven't posted as much on my YouTube because I've been going through stuff personally, and I'm finally coming out of it, and I'm starting to create again and find that spark and that joy. And it's great to come to these shows and pick the minds of the people that work in the industry that I'd love to one day. And honestly, with every person that I meet, it makes me want to do it more, because you find what wonderful people work in the voice acting field and how they're all like a big family, and like it's not like as cutthroat as Hollywood, where it's like, oh, well, Ben Affleck got the job, so now I'm out of work. It's more like, I don't think I'm the right guy for the job, but I know somebody who is, and they'll do that kind of thing. And it's a rare thing to see in any kind of entertainment. And I always, found joy in bringing the cartoons to life, and the joy that brings people. Even little kids love when I do like the SpongeBob voices and stuff. And it's always been fun to me to play around with those characters and kind of step out of my own shoes. And that's where the cosplay really came into play too, because everybody's got their own demons, and I felt that like stepping out of my own shoes was kind of cathartic for me at that time in my life, where it's like I get to not be me, and then like. Of course, the first time I'm like really not me, I go viral and I become famous. I'm like, great, really, I'm worthless. But I love going to these things, like I said, and they really have changed my life in a very, very positive way. And in a very complete way, because, you know, I'm not the same person I was in 2012.
Nobody wants Robert, they want Peter.
That's true. I created a monster because nobody wants to see Robin no more. They want Peter up top level.
Down with Robert.
No, I mean, most comedians suffer with mental illness, like depression and stuff, and they really just want to bring that light out. You know what I mean? We've gotten better at the self-deprecation jokes, you know, just because that's not good for your mental health, but the fact that we want to bring joy and comedy, laughter, and that fun energy, that's the light we want to bring to the world, so that's what we do.
And I see that. And I see that as a real big thing between you guys, because like you said, the resonance, the chemistry between you both works very well. Every walk by that I've passed by you guys and said hi and everything, it's been very great. I mean, you guys are, even introvert as you are, you're still pretty open. I mean,
You give them the old razzle dazzle, a little surfing bird, a little shut up Meg, and they love it, you know?
now, I heard you say you could do a SpongeBob voice.
Hey, Patrick, are you angry too?
Yeah,
What's the matter?
I can't see my forehead.
A round of applause, everybody. That was
How many voices do you think I think it's like 66 or more, right?
So I have videos on YouTube up to 75 voices, and I had another list of 25 that I never recorded, so I know I can do over 100 voices. I just, you know, I can't rapid fire them off the top of my head right
Can you
now.
even count to 100, Peter?
Maybe not. Maybe that's why I didn't post 100, because I kind of got lost after 75.
That's why we have 2 kids.
This was a new high score, and I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. That's why I don't know how much I weigh. I can't read the scale.
The highest score. After this.
Is get off a weight. I don't.
It's a heavy burden being Peter.
So the concrete jungle that is New York. You moved there and you lived in Jersey, you said?
No, Long Island.
Long Island.
Long Island, New York. So figure if there's a Long Island railroad system, and if I hop on the train towards the city, it'll take an hour from where I live. Train ride.
See, again, he lives in the soft
far. I'm far enough where I don't have to
So
deal
you're
with
not
the city.
even in New York.
Yeah, see, I live in the Bronx.
I'm sorry. Well, it's better than Staten Island.
Yeah, that's the worst island, and I've been to Rikers Island, and that's a prison.
Nobody wants to live in Staten Island.
Pete Davidson. So dang, so you've you grew up in that area and everything, and you had moved there, and you seem to find your way, not get trapped as much, keep moving and pushing, because like they say, I mean, it's a city that moves and moves and moves, and I can see somebody barely moving there being a big issue.
I mean, it's a rough town. It's super expensive. And I mean, I'm constantly working. But I love New York because like I am eccentric and I wear crazy costumes all the time and nobody gives it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're dressed all crazy. I just wear blue hair and I go to the grocery store in like Virginia or like Salt Lake City. They're like, what is this, Halloween? And I'm like, no, just sell me my beer, let's go. Like it's not a costume. Like they're like, what's this about? And I'm like, Lincoln
Way of life.
Yeah, no, they let you just express yourself, but then they're also super kind. Like they're not gonna let somebody just be messed with or bullied. They'll say something, you know what I mean? The big slogan is if you see something, say something. But New York is, and the multicultural, like all our friends hang out in the one place. Korean friends, like everybody just hanging out in one spot. I love that.
That's amazing, and I can see that also being New York. I mean, it's an open trade for practically everybody there. Anybody that comes over that lives here in the United States or anything like that. That's really a great place. Yeah, it's a place where dreams can start, along with I guess LA.
Yeah, because I remember when I was like sitting, making the decision to come to New York, and I just like I had asked myself like, what does Mandy want? And I was like, and the first thought that came in my head, live from New York, it's Saturday night. And I was just like, let's go. I sold my motorcycle when I went, I've been there since.
Oh, we're almost there. We're Saturday evening live right now.
Oh yeah, we have evening.
We're almost there, we're about to make it.
Almost only counted horseshoes and hand grenades, Lois.
Now, music. You guys have specific genres you like listening to, or?
I mean, all over the place. You know, it depends on the mood. I mean, my favorite band is Pink Floyd, but like I can also stand for some maybe some old school like Johnny Cash and stuff like that. I'm into like the old outlaw country, but then I don't like modern country. I like a lot of the classic rock and that kind of stuff. I'll put on some Beatles once in a blue moon, which is good. It's all over the place. I have everything from Biggie Smalls to Elvis Presley. You know what I mean? It's the '90s hip hop, all that good stuff. It's eclectic.
Well, then again, being that you were an hour away from where all those big songs blew up, especially Biggie himself.
I think he needs a bigger belt buckle.
Yeah, it's getting swallowed in there now. It's
like belly button lit by this point.
And how about yourself, Lowe's?
I like hip hop, Cardi B, Tupac. Me and Tupac got the same birthday, and him and Snoop Dogg have the same birthday. So that's pretty fun.
Ironic.
Yep.
Judas Priest, if I have to do rock. You know, I like rock, you know.
Okay.
Oh, Metallica action there.
Metallica, yeah.
Start
Pink Floyd,
playing the
but he
air
ruined it
guitar.
for me.
Start playing the air guitar, shredding a little bit in your own car and everything. All right, I can see
The only thing is I shred is my pants when I bend over. That's about it.
I got really good at sewing though because of that.
Do we have any questions from the audience would you like to come up? Please come up here so we can get some questions going for them.
Yeah. Audience questions.
Okay, I have a good question.
What's your name?
Oh, it's Jason.
Hi.
All right, I have two questions. Do any of you guys know Seth McFarland in person?
No. The only interaction I ever had, well, at least the closest they did, was when I first started dressing as Peter Griffin. I didn't know if I was going to get sued because I didn't know anything about parody laws. So I reached out through IMDb. I found his contact information. And I reached out to Fuzzy Door Productions, which is his production company. And I ended up getting on the phone with this nice young lady, and she said that they loved everything that I was doing, and that I actually came up in a table read, the possibility of doing a live action episode. But this was almost 10 years ago now, so I don't think that's going to happen, and I think it ended up becoming the reference on the episode.
Yeah, the closest thing I ever got to my voice actor was a picture of me and Joey in her phone sent from Phil Lamar. So.
All right, one last question. I noticed that you've been drinking a lot. At the Bonsai Con, I saw you drink a lot and you wrestled.
I did drink a lot of Bonsai Con. That was a lot of fun. I really turned up for that con because I didn't have to drive, and Lois wasn't here to check me. So
Did you get a bad hangover afterwards? Because I was.
So the wrestling show I was invited to, and I was excited because I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. I always loved Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and a lot of those guys, and. They asked if I would participate in the show, and it's like with show business, you have to learn to improvise with the hits. So originally we were supposed to fight in the ring. The ring broke two rounds before I was supposed to go on, which I was thankful it wasn't my fat ass that broke the ring. And then I was supposed to fight a chicken, but the chicken suit never showed up. So I ended up having to fight a regular dude. And I kind of explained like the move that I wanted to do. It's kind of like my finisher move. It's the Dominator, which was made popular by Farouk. And they weren't sure that I could do the move, and I kind of like did a dry run backstage, showed them. I was like, yeah, I can lift this guy over my shoulders. And we did it for the show, and people lost their minds. I was all over the wrestling social media pages. I hit this guy with a Dominator.
Yeah, I was in the background and people were sharing it, and people asked me, was that me? I'm like, yes.
And fun fact for people who don't know, that's not the first time I wrestled. The very first time I ever wrestled, she was actually involved too. In 2018, I threw my own convention called Another Freakin' Con, and it was located in Queens, New York. And we put on a live chicken fight on stage, and my stupid ass didn't have knee pads either, so my knees were purple for 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, no, I was carrying cookies up to the stage after Peter had gotten into a little fight, and the chicken came and slipped the cookies right out of my plate, and I just got the tray and I beat the crap out of him. It was great.
She did, and it was a lot of. We had a lot of fun with that. We choreographed the whole thing. My buddy CJ, who was a professional wrestler, was the chicken for that fight. I put him through a garbage can and a table. We had a lightsaber fight with Jedi and Sith in the background and the lights, and we had a lot of fun putting on that production, and it was a dream come true, because my buddy CJ and I had talked years and years about doing a wrestling match together, and that was the closest we got to really making that a reality. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll have another official chicken fight.
Maybe at the Drunken Clam.
Yeah, let's go down to the clam. I have to put
Thank you.
like a patch.
Thank you for your question. Thank you for the support.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you. So I know that you guys have been cosplaying for a while and into, sorry, I have bad social anxiety. Okay. Do you guys ever get any like hateful comments about like, oh, like grow up, you can't go, or you can't be in this, like, and what are your thoughts on that, and what are your thoughts to people, or like advice to people that say like, hey, like,
All right, so I've been canceled a lot. And my advice to people to deal with trolls, block and delete. Because it's your forum, it's your platform, you have control over what goes on there, and if they're here to talk crap about you, they don't need your content. And more often than not, most haters are just fans that are too afraid to be their authentic selves, and they're just taking it out on you who's actually putting themselves out there. So my advice is just block and delete. And what's funny is that when I do that, they'll even try to find me again. I'm like, I thought you said I sucked. I thought you said, what? I ain't your lowest bye. And they go and look for you anyways. So save your own peace. You don't need to have a bunch of followers if you know that you're doing it for yourself. And don't give them a voice. Don't give them your energy. Because in our world, I'll see 15 comments of I love you, you're great. I blow right past them. You suck. Hey, well, you suck, your mother. You know what I mean? Like, no. Block, delete, move on.
And I honestly, with entertainment, if you're not haters, then you haven't really made it yet. You know, if you put yourself out there, there's going to be people that are going to try to dull your shine because they can't shine themselves. And it's a projection of their own insecurities on you, and you got to take it not personally.
But never give up. If you have a dream, if you have something you want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I have like very few rules. Don't fuck pets, don't fuck the kids, don't fuck the planet, don't fuck up someone else's experience, do you? Okay?
Very simple. And you know, it's like Tom on Tsunami said, you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And it's important to keep that in mind, because you know, sometimes it can weigh you down, and it's like she said, you know, you can receive all the positive accolades in the world, and then you get that one shitty comment, and that's the one that you're reacting to. But you have to think about that too. It's like you gotta think about where you're putting your energy.
Yeah, because hurt people, and if you think about that they're trying to hurt you, be like, who hurt you, and then move on. But hurt people just want other people to feel pain too, and that's where it needs to stop. For me personally.
You know, it honestly comes from a place of wanting to be seen. You know, because they can't express themselves in the way that they want to or can, and you know, just if you're a content creator or anything that you do in life, stick with it. If it makes you happy and it's your passion, don't let anybody dull your shine.
all right, thank you.
Thank you for the comment. That was a question. Thank you.
Testing, dude. Or something.
Mr. Pool himself.
No, actually, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to make a donation, like to make a Deadpool 2024. No, sorry, Deadpool.
Well, it's better than other options.
But yes, yeah, I'm having trouble with that. So I have actually 2 requests, 1 question. Which one would you like first?
Let's go with the question.
Okay, I'll do the request. May I go to the stage so I can give a little gift to little Joey?
I think so.
You got a question for Joey?
Yeah, a question.
No, actually, I have a request. I have a gift for Joey.
A gift?
A gift for Joey?
Yeah.
Is it Batman? He loves Batman.
No, it's something else. Would you like to actually see the surprise? Don't worry.
Is it a trick question?
Don't worry, there's actually a sniper over there. Oh, and then we got these 2 guys with blades. I'm assuming they can actually tore my head off, but I'll get you regenerate, but may I do that?
Sure. I mean, it's up to the host over there. He's managing the stage. We're just the starfishes.
What's that, Joey? What's that? You gonna get it?
That's right, it's Dino
that's-
Reno.
oh, it's
It's part of my company. And like I said, I'm trying to make Deadpool 4 make it true, so I'll need your donations. Excellent. All right, so for my question, Oli. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Thank you very much.
You're
Getting
welcome.
upstaged by squeaky dinosaur over here.
Excellent.
They
So my,
love each other.
my main question is, actually let's go with the request. Can you actually explain me why I shouldn't make any investments on NFTs?
NFTs? I thought we were over that. Are they still doing that? That was like trending
They
like
still
5
make
years ago.
NFTs? I thought that failed like Bitcoin.
Okay, no, that explains a
NFTs.
lot.
I used to think that stood for non-effable titties.
You have the best. Yeah, no, I don't know much about that, no.
Okay. Well, actually, I was trying to see if you can make like a small monologue of why I shouldn't actually invest in NFTs, but I like that a lot.
I thought it was like a money laundering scheme.
It was.
Right?
It still is.
Right, we're Italians, we know this.
Poppity boops.
And for my question, oh damn it, I actually forgot. Yeah, actually, for my question, do you think she loves me?
Of course. You and the unicorn. It exists.
Amen for that. Thank you.
Pee pee poo poo.
Thank you for your questions, Deadpool. Ryan?
So with everybody and their great questions that they had to ask, any last piece of information, advice, or saying that you want to leave us off with?
You want to do the song?
Yeah, let's do the song. You start
Let's
us
do
off,
the
Lois.
Alright, you ready? It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? Lucky there's a family guy. Lucky there's a man who positively can do all the things that make us laugh and cry.
He's a family guy.
Everybody give a round of applause. Thank you so much, Lois and Peter Griffin.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Are we done? Can we go?
Put me on cameo.
Thank you.